Hello and welcome to part 4 of the object-oriented programming section of this course. So now we're going to learn about inheritance. And inheritance is a way to form new classes using classes that have already been defined. And then these newly formed classes are called derived classes. And the classes that we derive from are called base classes. So you have your base classes and then you can create derived classes from them. So a lot of important benefits of inheritance is that you're able to use code again and reuse it, and then you can reduce the complexity of your overall program code. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down this idea in the form of a live coding example. So what I'm going to do is incorporate some of our previous work from the dog class. But first, I'm going to create a new class, call it animal. And hopefully you remember the syntax for creating class. You'll use the class keyword, capitalize the name of your class, pass in the object keyword. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create the initialization method, underscore underscore init underscore underscore, pass in self. And now what I'm going to say is just have it simply say print animal created. So note, I am not actually passing in any attributes. It's just going to be a basic print animal created statement there. So that means if I say a is equal to animal created is printed, but notice a, if I click dot tab, it actually has no attributes associated with it. So this is just a super simple example of a class, and you usually wouldn't have print statements like this within your initialization method, but this is just to show you later on how inheritance is actually working. So I'm going to add two more methods, one called whoami, and it's going to take in just self, and it's going to print animal. And again, these print statements are just to show later on how the inheritance is working. And then one more method called eat. Again, all methods within a class always take self as an argument. And then I'm going to print here, print eating. Okay, so here I have my pretty basic animal class. And now I'm going to create or recreate the dog class. But if you notice, I'm not going to pass object. I'm going to pass in or inherit the animal class, that base class. And so the syntax for this, when I initialize it, I'm going to have my init method, going to take in self again. And what's going to happen is I'm actually going to initialize an animal instance by calling the init method with self attached. And then I'm going to say print dog created. And then I'm going to put in two more methods called whoami, in this case for the dog class, self. It's going to print dog. Then one more, I'm going to say def bark. It's going to take in self, and it's going to print, say, woof. Okay, so I had my animal class, and I'm going to zoom out a bit so we can see both of them at the same time. My animal class and my dog class. And let's go ahead and create an instance of the dog class or dog object. So what do we think is actually going to happen when I click this? So let's kind of work backwards here. I have my dog. Remember, it's inheriting from animal. And when I initialize the dog class, I call the initialize method on animal, which prints animal created. But I also print dog created since it's within the dog class. So I should see the printed statements animal created, dog created. And so that's what we get out there. Now what happens if I say D, who am I? Is it going to say dog or is it going to say animal? Well, something to note here is that since I'm calling dog and dog has its own who am I method, that's going to overwrite any instances of the inherited who am I method. So it will say dog. But if you notice, I don't have an eat method within my dog class, but I do have it within my animal class. And since it inherited the animal class when I constructed dog, it will still have the eat method available to it. So I can eat, and then it'll print eating. But I can also have additional methods that I only have existent in the dog class. So let's break this down again. In this example, we have two classes, animal and dog. The animal is the base class, and the dog is the derived class. And the derived class inherits functionality of the base class. And this is shown primarily through this eat method. And the derived class can modify existing behavior of the base class. So I modified it by overriding using the whoami method within the dog class. Okay, so that's inheritance. So remember, it's a way to form new classes using classes that have already been defined. It's a bit of an advanced topic for a beginner to learn, but it'll help you be able to understand how inheritance works when you're reading someone else's code. And then as you progress more and more and start using classes and object-oriented programming more, you'll be able to see instances where, hey, I'm going to create a class that's very, very similar to another class I just created. I might as well inherit it instead of creating an object again. All right. So lastly, in this series of lectures, we're going to learn about special methods. We've already gone over one special method, this init method, which initializes your attributes and everything that's going on with your class. But we're going to learn about some other special methods. Okay, thanks, and I'll see you at the next lecture.